Ever checked your account and smiled instead of panicking about whether you can afford coffee? There's a specific number where everything shifts. It's not what most people think. Experts say you need millions to feel wealthy. But they're missing something crucial. There's a smaller milestone that changes everything. That number is $20,000. And I think about money psychology constantly. Want real wealth building? Hit subscribe. What comes to mind when you think about building wealth? Trust fund kids or grinders? Here's the truth. Wealth building doesn't work how most people imagine. There are invisible thresholds that change the game once you cross them. For $20,000 is that first major barrier separating wealth builders from paycheck living. Think of pushing a heavy boulder uphill. Getting started is the hardest part. You're straining, questioning if it's possible. But once you build momentum, something magical happens. $20,000 is that turning point where your boulder crests the hill. Everything before feels like pushing uphill. Everything after feels like gravity working for you. The real magic happens in your brain when you cross it. Without savings, your brain operates in survival mode, filtering every decision through fear. You take terrible jobs because you can't be picky. You stay in bad situations because leaving feels risky. In survival mode, your brain can't think about growth. But something remarkable happens when you cross $20,000. Your brain has space to think differently. Instead of asking how to survive, you ask how to grow. Research shows $2,000 in savings increases well-being by 21%. That's less than a laptop costs. But that buffer creates massive psychological shift for your brain. When you push that to 6 months' expenses, everything changes completely. You've created breathing room for wealth building. Here's where the math gets exciting and shows you the power of momentum clearly. Saving $1,000 monthly with 8% returns gets you $20,000 in 19 months total. That's discipline and delayed gratification. Most people give up along the way, unfortunately. Your second $20,000 only takes 17 months, though. Why? Because that first 20 works too. You did the same work but shaved 2 months off from compound interest kicking in. By your third $20,000, timeline shrinks more. Your money does more heavy lifting for you. Once you hit $400,000, you generate $20,000 in just 5 months. It's the same amount that took nearly 2 years. Now it happens automatically through investments compounding. That first milestone feels impossible. But everyone after it gets progressively easier over time. The real secret is simpler than you think. Basic mathematics working in your favor consistently. 10% growth on $1,000 makes you $100. Apply that to $10,000 and you get $1,000. This is why $20,000 feels like a turning point. Before that, returns feel insignificant. But 10% on $20,000 is $2,000 yearly. Now we're talking real money. With $20,000 earning 8%, that's $1,600 flowing yearly out of money you didn't earn through your job. Money that showed up automatically from investments. The strategy isn't more sophisticated than what someone with $1,000 can use. Same index funds available to everyone. The only difference is scale transforming small wins into real progress. You can feel. But here's what most people miss about this milestone that changes everything. When you save $20,000, you've accomplished something far more valuable than just money. You've proven you can delay gratification and stick to a plan consistently over time. You've developed financial discipline that most people never achieve in their lives. You've trained your brain to think long-term instead of chasing immediate rewards constantly. That psychological transformation is worth more than the money itself. It changes your identity completely. Because once you know you can build $20,000, you know you can build anything. The confidence from hitting this changes how you approach every financial decision going forward. You stop doubting whether wealth building is possible for someone like you. You start seeing yourself as someone who's good with money. That identity shift creates powerful momentum. Here's something else that happens around $20,000 that might surprise you. You start caring less about small expenses and more about big ones that actually matter. When you're broke, you obsess over every purchase. These decisions consume mental energy constantly. But with a solid foundation, you realize micro-decisions are largely irrelevant to your future. The coffee difference is maybe $1,000 yearly. What matters? Where you live, what you drive, how much you save. These choices swing your net worth by tens of thousands over time significantly. Instead of agonizing over organic bananas, you optimize housing costs and maximize income instead. This shift frees up mental bandwidth for decisions that actually matter to your future wealth. You stop sweating small stuff. You start thinking strategically about wealth building instead. Now let's talk about what happens to your career once you hit this milestone. $20,000 doesn't just change your relationship with money. It changes your relationship with work completely. Living paycheck to paycheck traps you in whatever job you have. Your boss could be terrible, but you can't leave. This puts you in weak negotiating position. You can't ask for raises or push back on unreasonable demands from management. But 20,000 changes everything completely. Suddenly you have walking away money for months ahead. You could quit tomorrow and survive while finding something better that you actually enjoy. This doesn't mean being reckless. It means negotiating from strength instead of desperate survival mode. This shift affects everything about how you approach your career and work opportunities. You ask for the raise you deserve. You push back on unreasonable requests confidently. You explore new opportunities because you can afford to take calculated risks now. Often, you don't even need to use your walking away money at all. Just having it changes your entire demeanor. You become more confident and assertive naturally. And when you show up differently, people notice immediately. You get better assignments and recognition deservedly. It's a secret superpower you hope you never use. But knowing it's there changes everything about your confidence. The more confident you become, the faster you build wealth and options for yourself, which gives you more confidence. It's a positive feedback loop that accelerates over time. But here's where most people mess up and destroy their progress completely. They hit 20,000, feel that shift, then blow it on something stupid immediately. Maybe they decide they deserve a new car or take an expensive vacation somewhere tropical. Don't do this terrible mistake. That 20,000 isn't a reward. It's your foundation for everything ahead. It's the seed that grows exponentially if you let it compound properly over decades. The average person spends more on cars than achieving financial independence actually takes. Between payments, insurance, maintenance, and gas, people drop $600 to $800 monthly on transportation alone. Over 40 years, that's easily $400,000 just to get around town daily. Meanwhile, they complain they can't afford to save for retirement or build wealth for future. The moment you drive a new car off the lot, it loses 20% of value immediately. You're not just spending money foolishly. You're actively destroying wealth. Compare that to investing wisely instead. Instead of watching money evaporate, you watch it multiply through compound interest over decades. Cars are emotional purchases. You want something reliable that looks good and feels successful? Nothing wrong with that desire, as long as you understand the trade-off you're making. That car payment might make you feel wealthy temporarily, but it's actually keeping you poor long-term. Having 20,000 saved changes your perspective on major purchases completely and permanently. Instead of thinking about monthly payments, you think about opportunity costs of that money invested. That 30,000 card could grow to over 200,000 in 20 years invested. Suddenly, driving a reliable used car doesn't feel like sacrifice. It feels like smart strategy. The beautiful irony: flashy car drivers stress about money constantly. Honda drivers build wealth quietly instead. This mindset extends to every major financial decision you make going forward permanently. Housing, education, vacations, and hobbies all get filtered through opportunity cost lens automatically, not in an obsessive way that sucks joy from life and makes you miserable, but in a strategic way, ensuring intentional choices about where money goes long term. Once you start thinking this way, you don't want half the stuff anymore. Is that bigger apartment worth delaying financial independence by 5 years? Probably not really. That expensive hobby? There are cheaper ways to get the same satisfaction and joy. This isn't about becoming a penny-pinching miser who never enjoys anything fun. It's about becoming intentional with money instead of letting it slip away mindlessly every month. When you have clear goals and understand compound interest, distinguishing what you want becomes easier naturally. 20,000 won't make you rich overnight, but it changes how you think permanently. It's the difference between surviving and thriving, between reacting to life and designing it. Start building that foundation today. Your future self is counting on you right now. Trust me, they'll thank you for it.